That's a trip still. You can see it.
It's not worth it at all.
All right, take it over, fellas, yeah. It's all right, yeah.
Greetings, black youth, planet Earth.
What it is.
I am Sun Ra, ambassador from the intergalactic regions of the Council of Outer Space.
Why are your shoes so big?
Are those moon shoes?
How do we know you for real?
Yeah, how we know you ain't somebody off Telegraph Street, some old hippie or something?
What are you? I mean, we don't know that.
She for real?
He might have something going for him.
Yeah, we sure
Well,
don't.
what kind of shoes is that you got on your feet?
Yeah, walking around all these funny clothes. Shoot, I know I probably take off running. I seen somebody walking down the street coming, talking all that mess to me, talking about going to outer space.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, what it is. That's what it is. What it is.
Talking about Telegraph Street. We don't know what you are.
How do you know I'm real?
Yeah.
I'm not real. I'm just like you. You don't exist in this society. If you did, your people wouldn't be seeking equal rights. You're not real. If you were, you'd have some status among the nations of the world. So we're both myths. I do not come to you as a reality. I come to you as the myth, because that's what black people are, myths. I came from a dream that the black man dreamed long ago. I'm actually a present sent to you by your ancestors.
Say that it's a great honor to represent him, because he passed away in '93, and I was at that same time operating as a volunteer at the Adult Planetarium because of his influence in me. I had I started in astronomy the year that I left this band in '61, and so they asked me to write the music for African Skies, and that was my inspiration, was Sonny.
Right.
He influenced the whole planet Earth. When I performed with him from '58, in the fall of '58 up to spring '61, I was aware of his impact on society, on music and mathematics, knowledge, all of that, because I came here to study that. And I thought I would study in some institution, and I wound up being in Sun Ra's band. Well, at the time, he was rehearsing 6 hours a day. We would start at noon and rehearse to 6 p.m. And so I got in the flow of Sun Ra's energy, and the next thing I knew, I lost everything. Lost my wife, my house, my job, because I knew he had what I was looking for. I was looking for a way to open myself up. And as I studied with him and performed his music, then I saw the reality of what I was searching for myself. So I left his band in '61 to pursue my own energy. And Sun Ra left town to go to Montreal, and he said, come on and go with us, because we had, maybe 150 numbers we had memorized, by heart. And so we could he didn't even have to call numbers, he could just play a few notes on the piano and he could play his composition.
Right.
So with that type of connection that I had with him, 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. We played 6 hours a night at the one-day end.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 12 hours a day. My instrument opened up. So when he left, I saw his impact on New York because I wasn't with him. I was here. And so I saw how New York began to change. The art changed, the poetry changed, the music, everything. He was like a secret force just in the midst, and most people weren't aware of it because back in that day, they weren't too hip to culture.
Right.
And he was like a catalyst. He stimulated everything to open up in the arts, open up the sculpture, open up the paintings, open up the portrait, the prose, everything changed from his energy. And I could see it and identify it as being his energy. And as he progressed through the years, the whole world began to accept him. Of course, it was Europe that really accepted him because the people here are not enlightened enough. You know, actually, when we were playing here in Chicago, you can walk all over Chicago and probably find a lot of people. Most of the people wouldn't even know who you are. Because the people here did not understand who he was or what a person of art is. So the main thing the reason I wanted to pay tribute to him was to bring out the facts of his impact on society. Because most people really aren't that advanced to think of things like that. But in Europe, right away, he's had a big, big impact. See, I came here looking for that. I came here, I attended the music school and the Naval School of Music in Anacostia, Washington, D.C., and they had me to take music history for the first time. I had never had music history in college. Although I played in the symphony, I took math and chemistry were my majors. And so when I got to deal with Sun Ra, I found things that I was looking for all the time. You know. Now, Sonny came out of Birmingham, and that was a great center of our music. There were maybe 3 really important centers where the music was incubated. That's New Orleans, and that's what everybody talks about. Tulsa, Oklahoma, and Birmingham. Now in Birmingham, you had the what do you call them? What was Fletcher's? The Bama State, the Bama State Collegians, Erskine Hawkins, and you had a whole bunch of people growing out of this one egg. And Sonny was the most prominent of those. There was another, his practice mate was Avery Parrish, who wrote the Black Anthem, After Hours. And that After Hours was along our bloodline. It was a song that everybody heard and loved. I mean, there was no such thing as having a party without After Hours in it. And so I'm trying to point that out, that there was a great body of music from the churches, from the joints, and the schools, triumvirate of black energy in the music form. And you know, I teach that we have always been musicians. We have always been singers. That our languages and all of our culture developed out of music. And so we always hold music as the pinnacle of where we want to go and the energy that we want to live in. So Birmingham was the great center that Sonny came out of. They told me that when he was around 15 or 16, that he could play so good that they took him in white places that wouldn't allow blacks to play. And they would bring him in, and then other black musicians could follow him. So he was like an innovator for them down there, because of in the time of his ascendancy, that, you know, in the 40s, the 30s, and the 20s, he wanted to help to play music that reflected what he believed in, rather than playing other people's music as a professional, you know. And he had a very difficult time because people don't like music. It's different. And I go through the same thing, you know. A lot of people considered me, when I brought the Francophone out, they said it was a toy. Yet I can play more than any violinist, you know.
Is there anything that's unique about Chicago in particular, or
Well,
Illinois, that contributes to the influence that the artists have
This is the meeting place.
Uh-huh.
See, this is the place where Kansas City come together, where Tulsa, Oklahoma, where New Orleans, Mississippi, all of these energy fields came here. And no matter where the people came from, they all brought their music with them.
Mm-hmm.
And so Sonny was, I guess, the personification of the whole.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to explain that he had difficulty with musicians because they didn't want to play something different. You know, he would play dissonances. You know, well, musicians didn't like that.
Yeah.
I didn't like it either. But when I got with him, I played with him every day, and I began to realize it was his language.
Right.
It was his voice.
Right.
And so he had to stop using professionals and get some young guys that he trained.
Uh-huh.
There was Marshall Allen first, Ronald Boykins on bass. It was John Gilmore, who was in the Army when he came out. He got there, and John was responsible for me being in the band.
Okay.
So I was much older than those guys, but we were all looking for the same thing, a voice and music.
Mm-hmm.
And Sonny showed us the way to that voice. And this is how I lost all of my possessions and everything, pursuing this music.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when he got it together and they moved out to other cities, I mean to New York and Philly, and then eventually to Europe and the world, everyone was astounded by it because it was developed. But it never would have been developed with professionals, because all the professionals think they know enough.
Mm-hmm.
I run into the same thing now. I want someone to play my music, and I tell them it's not chords.
Uh-huh.
We can't use chords. We use melodies, and they can't do that.
Right.
So Sonny had the greatest impact on American music because he forced us to expand our thinking, our whole basis for playing music. See, we were all taught by the European system.
Right.
And by me being involved in research and history and musicology, I began to strip down their participation in it, because I found out where all of that music was originated and where it was borrowed from and all of that. So this is how I started out in the 60s, giving lectures on how European music developed. And at the same time, Sun Ra's music included all of that and beyond that.
Right.
But even added on to that was this cosmic collection, connection. He understood that all things were one. And all of his songs reflected some type of cosmic knowledge. He forced us to think of ourselves as living in the cosmos rather than living on planet Earth.
Right.
And even today I point out that the Earth is only a speck in the cosmos. Hardly identifiable, Now, where I received the energy from him to respect the cosmos. So I went into the Adler Planetarium and started studying astronomy in '61, the year that I left him. And as I walked the streets of Chicago and studied, my whole world opened up because of him. I mean, he cut the borders away. So I began to study the flora and fauna. I became an herbalist. I studied the heavens. I watched them every night for 3.5 years. I even took a job with the police department so that I could go on lunch on my midnight shift and study the heavens. So when other guys would shift, their shift would become a midnight shift, then I would take their place so I could stay on midnight all the time. And for my 3 years there, I studied the heavens every night it was available. And this is my expertise, just from work. Like he taught me how to rehearse every day.
Right.
That's the way I approach everything. I give it everything I got. And I came up with a decent approach to astronomy. And just like Sonny, my approach grew into archaeoastronomy. And therefore, I went back into ancient concepts. And this is the root of all knowledge on earth now. The ancient African people knew this stuff and forgot more than they know today. But that's hidden in all histories and all subject matter that you pursue. You can only find it by studying the sky. So he gave me the impetus to open up the true knowledge and to relate all of my music to that. So I don't have a single song that's not related to our cosmic reality. This is the driving force in all music as it progresses. We are coming from ignorance into enlightenment, and we're getting closer and closer to cosmic relationships. So that's
right. I understand in terms of the way that he and you and have changed the way music was approached and played. But what can be done to change the way that music is processed in the world? In other words, listened to and received and used. Well, is there anything that can be done to change the way that people or the public uses music to make it more beneficial?
It's already changing.
Okay.
It's already changing. In fact, you know everything must change anyway.
Right.
But we have moved from one cosmic era to another. We are now in an era that focuses on spirit. And so all of the spiritual things that have been hidden and suppressed now are coming out. And that's the key to music, because music is an extension. Just like I mentioned the tree earlier, the pattern of the tree is something very profound in the cosmos, and you can take that same pattern and produce that energy all over the cosmos. So the music of spirit now is upon us. We are no longer in the music of making money or trying to make hit records and things like that. That era is dying. As we go into economic depression, as we go into another shift in our value system, the spirit is the thing that is emerging in us all. And so the music is the head of spirit. The music is the voice of spirit. And so people will come back to all of those people who are involved in spiritual music. And that's what Sun Ra was, and that's what I am.
So you think that the shift is going to cause, or is causing,
it's already
people to receive music
and change their values
and the value system.
Yeah.
So does the music change the value system, or will the value system change?
No, the music changes.
The music will change.
Music is first in all things in culture.
Okay.
And culture is the diagram upon which people exist.
Right.
So you go back in any civilization, and people are extolling ancient Egypt, as I have the Ankh on my wall.
Right.
The beginning of it is from the music. The music was constructed in a way to allow them to expand. And that's what allowed me to expand. That's what allowed Sonny to expand.
Right.
He was a pianist, but as he kept fooling with music, something down in the music grabbed him, just like with me.
In your view, what's the value of archiving the material such as yours that we're doing and other people are doing?
It's very important.
For future generations.
It's very important. I don't think they can be focused unless they get what was before. See, there are a lot of people jump up nowadays and try to create something different. That's not what you want to do. You want to become a channel for what was already mastered. You see, we come from an ancient line of melodies that before language was even thought of, we sang and communicated with each other through music. And so that music is still a vibrant part of everything in existence. And that's what we have to get back on the main line. You understand?
Yes, sir.
And that your work of cataloging and keeping the records and filming it will give people who are serious an opportunity to cover a lot of ground without, that's already that's already here.
Okay.
We have to learn to respect our ancestors, first of all.
Yes, sir.
And that's where the thing begins. See, someone destroyed our respect for our ancestors, and we wouldn't look back in our past. We wouldn't look at the sky. When they brought the slaves here, all of them mastered the sky. Even the little children knew the phases of the moon, and they knew the important stars that were out there.
Right.
One star would appear like, now you have Mars in a position now.
Right.
Because it's been closer to Earth, and that's why they have this the space probe up there. But the little children of the slaves knew the sky, and naturally, when you go into the songs, all of the slave songs had references to the cosmos, And this is what I pointed out in my lecture at the Adler Planetarium, that I was shocked, you know, because no one ever mentioned it.
Right.
And so it's being in line, in harmony with all things, not just some things, but coming on that main line. And when the music is in that vein, then it's nourishing, it's inspirational, it's life-giving to people.
Right.
And so I've always pursued medicine in music.
Right.
You know, I'm a healer.
Yes,
and when I play to heal. And people get it, they don't know what it is, they just feel good, you know.
So when you play on, what's it, August 12th, is it?
14th.
14th?
Yeah, 6:30 p.m. in the Priska Pavilion at the Millennium Park.
Right. And now, have you done your research on where the stars will be on that evening?
Yes, I looked at it basically, but not to discuss it.
Oh, okay.
I looked at it because all important dates I refer to see if there's anything additional there.
Understood.
But see, that date was selected by circumstances.
I understand.
And I always check that out to see what my lot is going to be personal.
Right.
You know.
Right.
No.
Well, the reason I asked that is,
I'd like to add something there. We are under a special energy of Saturn and Mars. This has been causing all the disruptions and also outstanding events, such as Obama is under Mars. And I am also under a Saturn and Mars energy. The Katrina and the tsunami have something to do in that energy too. We're in an age that's vastly opened up by Saturn being in Leo. You see. And so this is a very great time for all of us, a great time of change and stability to be established on a long-term basis.
Okay.
So we're entering a new world.
So just going back to the performance, just in closing, maybe you could give us a description of who the personnel will be and things like that. And then I think
we have a lot of outstanding people, but it wasn't my objective to go and get well-known people because I've been in Chicago since 1953, and I've come in contact with all types of outstanding artists who never received their just due.
Right.
And we are in a period of decline now. There's only 1 or 2 people coming up. I played in Chicago when there were at least, 2,000 musicians playing out of the Black Union on State Street.
Right.
There were bands all over the South Side. We didn't go North Side, West Side, places. We stayed in our own community because it was heaven. Everything we needed was there. But that situation has changed now. And we find that the musicians, which are the lifeblood of our whole process, are thinning out. When I stop and think about it now, I can only think of a couple of really outstanding new musicians.
Right.
All of the outstanding musicians are old guys who've been here a long time, like Bon Freeman, and people like that, and myself.
Right. There's a few coming up, but you have quite a big group performing with you.
Yeah,
this
is what I wanted to get to, is that it wasn't my objective to get those outstanding people because they have demands. Some of them are prima donnas and a whole lot of stuff like that.
Right.
But I got people that I've known along the way who are very serious about spiritual endeavors. And this is going to be primarily a spiritual experience. Basically, all of us are working to present a spiritual experience that will last people all their lives. And we have maybe 50 performers, maybe 10 or 12 singers, 7 dancers. We got maybe 7 or 8, 10 musicians, and then we have hypnotic. It's 9 of them, and it's going to be a boom. So I've designed the program to take the audience through various colors that come out of our ancestors. We're designing our program to follow ancient laws. For instance, we'll use discs. The dancers are going to use discs that are a cubit in diameter. the cubit that Noah's Ark was made out of, and the cubit that the pyramids were measured. You know, this is the attitude that we take in presenting something spiritual. We're reaching back in our ancestry and getting those devices along with what we are familiar with today, and using these things as a part of our presentation. And that's where wealth comes from. It comes from artisans. It comes from sculptors. It comes from painters, musicians, dancers, singers, actors. That is the wealth of any people. I love to play the harp because this is what David played. See, and the classical people train folk to play the harp in a different manner. And they try to play piano music on the harp. So they put pedals on it so they can accommodate the dissonances. But the ancient harp was based on strings that are related, like a family. In a family, you have the mother and the father and the children. You see? And that's the way the harp was constructed. And David, one of his foremost proponents, played the harp and was favored by God because he played these family melodies on his instrument. And that's what you hear, family relationships. You hear melodies that are ancient as time itself. I've known rivers. I've known rivers ancient as the world and older than the flow of human blood in human veins. My soul has grown deep like the rivers. I bathed in the Euphrates when dawns were young. I built my hut near the Congo and it lulled me to sleep. I looked upon the Nile and read the pyramids above it. And I heard the singing of the Mississippi when Abe Lincoln went down to New Orleans. And I've seen his muddy bosom turn all golden in the sunset. I've known rivers, ancient, dusky rivers. My soul has grown deep